I want to talk about effort and application. This is a picture of the interior of a martial arts studio, and I don't know how many thousands and perhaps tens of thousands of hours I have spent in such facility. And my reasons for doing that have varied over the years. When I was a youngster, Kung Fu was a television program with David Carradine about a guy from China who was looking for his brother, I think, had come to the Old West, since it was set in the 1860s, 70s, somewhere in that time frame. And he would go from town to town as a drifter. And of course, inevitably in every place, there would be somebody that needed rescuing or some situation that needed righting, and he was able to display his formidable kung fu skills and wipe out a bunch of bad guys. The interesting thing, and that was fun for me as a kid, probably partly because I was picked on. I was an outcast. I was nobody. I wore horn-rimmed glasses, and I was the encyclopedia nerd, and I did in fact read the encyclopedias for lunch and regularly, right? And the World Book Encyclopedia on the left side of the classroom, right underneath the window in the fourth and fifth grade, different rooms were my favorite companions. Anyway, the result of spending those thousands of hours is that I had acquired proficiency, first a black belt and then a second degree black belt in a couple of different styles. And I got a certificate to operate a dojo myself, which I did for a small group for a short period of time. But it was too many businesses. But my point is the effort and application is what made all that possible. Today, in our time here, we have come to believe, in large part, and it's partly true, that we can have anything we want by going on the internet, downloading something, double click, open it, boom, there's the solution. And so we have created an expectation societally and sometimes in ourselves, and sometimes maybe because we're lazy or whatever, I don't know, that everything should be available instantly. And if it's not, something's wrong with them, that, it, over there. That's, should be exactly what I want right here, right now. And it's not true with anything important. It is true with trivial things. I can now, especially because of the pandemic, I can order on one of half a dozen delivery services and have the contents of any grocery store within 10 or 15 miles of my house in my hands in a couple of hours. And I don't have to go anywhere. I have to sit in front of the computer and do a few clicks. How marvelous. Amazon and other delivery services, but principally Amazon, means I can have anything I want in an hour. Not an hour, but in a day. And sometimes there's same-day delivery. So that download and double click is true, and it's valuable, and we pay for it. We trade our time and energy in the form of money for those services, and we should. And the people that deliver, that's their business, and they make a business out of satisfying needs and delivering things, and that's wonderful. And I am so grateful for them. Matters of the heart, matters of the soul, matters of development are never like that. If you want to learn a foreign language, there is no download and double click. There's Babbel and Rosetta Stone and all kinds of apps that help you do this. I have a client who's working on Spanish because a big piece of his business is in Mexico. And I urge you to go to LA Talk Radio, latalkradio.com. Look me up, Your Ultimate Life. And the first interview we did was last Tuesday. I'm restarting that. I did LA Talk Radio 80 episodes years ago in 2014. And I think 15 or 13 and 14, somewhere in that time, for 18 months. And so it might have crossed at least 2 and maybe 3 years. I don't know. But anyway, and that was audio only. Now they're video and they're live streamed and they're Tuesday nights at 4 p.m. Pacific. The guest that I had on the last one is the fellow I'm talking about now, and he wouldn't mind me sharing this because his business is in Mexico and he's created that. He's made it his business to learn Spanish. He lives in Michigan. And he now tells me that 1,380 or 70 days or something in a row, he's used a Spanish learning app. Well, the app has made it download and double click easy to study. The application is 1,300 and whatever days. That's nearly 4 years, right? 1,400 and something will be 4 years. So the application, the energy, the effort, and application is the key to success for things that are valuable. Internally, in your heart, in your soul, in your love, in your development, in your connection to God, in your connection to adding good to the world, right? The things that are download and double click are good and fun and great, although there's some grumpy ones you can download and double click on the dark web, I've heard. I used to be a drug addict, but I never did it that way. You can buy drugs and porn and all kinds of other terrible stuff that are harmful to us. Yep, that's download and double click too. But things that are valuable, that will stay with you as part of your permanent development, those take effort and application. Energy, effort, application, consistent growth. So I use this picture of the interior of a dojang, if you're in Korean martial arts, because it represents, it's silent and empty here in the picture, but it represents, I can't tell you. You come into a place like that and it's almost sacred. And that's why they bow coming in, because the level of dedication and effort, not by everybody, but by the few who were taking this seriously, perhaps for different reasons, but taking it seriously, the effort and energy and dedication was heroic, was life-changing for them. They wouldn't have had that experience without showing up day after day, once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, perhaps every day. And if you're only going once or twice a week to the dojo, you better be practicing at home. It better be part of your daily workout if, in fact, you intend to have this be something in your life. Now, the reason I did this setup is because this whole Road to 50 Million thing is about helping you to discover and to serve with your divine gifts. That isn't a download and double-click process. Finding your gifts is easy. Intuition, prayer, guidance, talking to other people, understanding what you love to do, and turning off all the outside noise will allow you to find your gifts. We've talked about this before. 4 steps. Ask other people what you're naturally good at. Number 2, explore what you really enjoy doing, like when you have an empty day or an empty hour. What would you love to do? And I'm not talking about sleep or get caught up or take a vacation. Assume all that was handled. You had all the vacation you could stand and all the sleep you could stand. What do you do? And if you're living in a sleep-deprived world, then that's a project. Maybe the first yearning is to move from a sleep-deprived, harried, heckled, hassled, overwhelmed world to a world of order, peace, productivity, and beauty, because you can have that. I know, because I've made that transition from a hectic, hassled, overwhelmed world to a world of peace, prosperity, purpose, joy, which is the world I get to enjoy every day today. And I'm not magic, and it wasn't download and double click. So the ultimate life, I've got a definition. I define it as a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy that you create by serving with your gifts, your divine gifts. That's the fastest way to have all 3: purpose, prosperity, and joy. And prosperity I use on purpose. I could have said wealth, but wealth is usually associated with cash. Prosperity is a broader term which includes adequate money to both live and to share and to give and to add good to the world. Yes, yes, and yes, all the money you want. Because money isn't anything interesting. It is a tool, just like the heavy bag right there, that heavy bag. That's a tool. It's a tool to develop both striking speed and particularly power. So you can see the heavy bag and how much it moves, and you can have the sense of impacting something quite heavy with resistance. Money, earning money, creating money is just a tool. It is easier today, January, whatever we are, 20th, 21st. Let's see, Friday the 13th, 2021. It is easier today, January 21st, 2023, than it's ever been to make money. Money is everywhere. It is in infinite supply. There is no shortage. The organization of economies and banks and governments wasting it and going into debt and everything else, it's a different issue, and it might cause problems, will cause problems in an uncontrolled way. But the act of creating money, which is simply an accumulation of value in the form of whatever we happen to be using right now, which right now is electrons mostly, used to be green stuff and cash, or multicolored money. Here in Canada, we have, 5 or 6 colors of bills. So do they in Australia, so do they in Europe. Accumulating that is not hard. It is simple, but it takes application and effort. It is not download and double click. And everybody that gets lost in those download and double click get rich schemes knows what that isn't, that it isn't true. Right? It never is. It never will be. And the reason is because it requires effort to accumulate energy. Now, your invitation here is to look in your own heart. Where are you putting in your effort and attention, your repeated action, application? Effort and application is where we started. Where are you doing that? Are you doing it keeping up with the latest television programs, soaps, gossip, and political stuff? Or are you putting your effort and application into developing yourself, being more loving, kind, exploring how you really find and serving with your gifts? Now, you may already be doing that. So this isn't a critique in any sense. It's a reflection of my own journey from being only concerned about money, only concerned about position and power, to a place where today I couldn't care less about any of that stuff. It all comes, and it comes magically and easily. And I mean that, magically and easily. It's like, how does that happen? Well, effort and application of the principles, like I spent umpteen thousand hours in the dojo. So my invitation to you is to discover and serve with your gifts. It's interesting. There's a movement in the world. We can all feel it, an energetic movement toward authenticity, toward finding and serving with your gifts, toward eschewing or moving away from this climb the corporate ladder thing. There's still a lot of people that are married to that and looking just for the cash and the car and okay, they're allowed to do that, and I love them on their own journey. But there is a movement of people saying enough already. And it isn't because they can't create cash and they're not cool. It isn't because they're losers opting for lower satisfaction. It isn't. That's a myth that people tell. It is enlightened people who have discovered, often by earning all that there's something else that's more important, more fulfilling, more beautiful, available to them if they'll only seek it. Now, my purpose, today's day 72 or 3 or 4, something in this road to 50 million, and there's going to be hundreds of them, maybe thousands, I don't know. But here's the deal. I want to help you do that. I have that. I have a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy. I got it the slow and hard and creaking and mistake-filled way. With lots of setbacks and give-ups and quits and fall on my faces and everything else. It isn't required to have all those. You don't have to make all the mistakes yourself. Fortunately, I hired good coaches and, I did stuff so I avoided some of even more mistakes and delays that I would have had. My purpose, the ultimate life, your ultimate life, is to give you that. Everything I know, everything I've learned. But it won't do any good for you and if you don't put the effort and application in, because it isn't a download and double-click solution, never was, never will be. If you're trying to serve with your gifts and talents and you want to make money, make a business, create income, impact and income, that's the cute buzzword right now, impact and income, you can. You really can, and it's easier now than it's ever been. If you're already living the ultimate life, I really would like to talk to you because I have several stages where you can preach, where you can teach, where you can reach wide audiences to talk about the journey you've had and how you've discovered the things that are important to you to create your ultimate life. So if you're doing that, I want to talk to you because I have several stages where you can expand your reach if you're interested. And the third thing is if you're interested and you can help me get to my 50 million, then I'd love to talk to you also. Perhaps there's something we can do together to reach more people with love and service to discover who they're being in the world and make conscious, intentional changes and put the effort and application in to create that life of ease, purpose, prosperity, and joy. Love to you, encouragement to you, love to hear from you. We'll see you tomorrow on the road to 50 million.